Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good evening, and welcome to the Whittemore Community Magazine's World Community Magazine. I got to remember to say World Community Magazine with Whittemore, as you all know it. I'm April Garner, co-host of tonight's show, and Brother Edward was behind the scenes checking on one of our guests. I think he's ready. Can you give me the thumbs up, Brother Edward, if you're ready for me to bring you onto the screen so we can introduce our first guest? Give me the thumbs up. Okay, all right. There you go. Can't hear you. Nope, you're muted.
Okay, I'm muted now. Okay, he said he's in the studio, so
I don't see
him. He's not.
Well, I don't see him. You want to go back and work on that?
I'm disappointed. But anyway,
you want to go back and work on it, and I can just go. Yeah. Okay, it looks like he's trying to pop in.
Right.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll get started with our first guest, and then that'll give him a little bit more time.
Okay, do you see him?
I see him. I see him.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So first of all, thank you all for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Again, I'm April Garner, the co-host, and Brother Edward McQueen is our host for this evening, as always on Mondays at 7 p.m. We have a couple of special guests tonight. As you've seen the promo, we have Dr. Antonio Smith, who is the author of his latest book, or I don't know if it's his latest or his newest, or if he's a first-time author or what, but we're going to learn all that tonight. And then we also have Ms. Julie Hardwick, who is a candidate for Conway City Council, joining us. So we're going to start with Ms. Julie and get to know her a little bit, and then we will switch right over to our guest for the evening. So Julie, how are you?
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I'm very excited.
Yeah, great. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We know that you're also a watcher of WCM Live, so we appreciate you, supporting us over the years, and it's a pleasure to have you here this evening.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Julie's gonna. But let our listeners know that this is a paid broadcast on Julie's part. Okay, paid broadcast.
Yes.
And but Julie's here to articulate her platform on what she'd like to see happen in Conway.
Yes.
Beautiful downtown Conway and elsewhere around the city.
That's right.
So, Julie, you can. I guess you want to start by giving us a little background on yourself, and understand you are a tiger.
I am a tiger. Class of 87.
Yes.
Not only am I a graduate of Conway High School, I also worked at Conway High School as director of guidance for several years. Back up, my background is I'm in education. I was a government, economic, criminal justice teacher. Also, I have a master's in counseling. And I then switched over into counseling the last part of my year. I've been with Horry County Schools for 28 years. And so teaching and empowering and encouraging and trying to provide an opportunity for young people and students to see what's out there in the world has always been a passion of mine. I've always working with them. I've been working with Coastal Carolina University over the past probably decade with the Dalton Floyd mentoring program. And through that program, I've been able to get young people thousands of hours of mentoring from a college student. And, that's something it's hard to think about, but yet it's so real. We have students who are going to graduate high school this year, and they're going to be the first one graduating high school in their family.
First generation.
And the first generation. And, I was high school, and then I dropped down to middle school because I was like, I could work at the middle school level to work with these students to say there's hope and there's opportunities, but you got to start in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to get prepared for it. And I'm also working with the Coastal Carolina Call Me Misters program, the education program. They come to our school, and we have a group of of students, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and the Call Me Misters come out and mentor and work with these students every week in order to show them the possibilities that are out there. And that is something that, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get involved with the city council, and I want to be on city council, is because I think there's so many opportunities that we can provide for students. We can provide for our families. We can provide to make this a much better place, that everyone will want to come and stay here. We've got so many fabulous resources that we need to mentor them. We need to water them. We need to grow them. And if they choose to stay home, that's great. If they choose to go outside of Conway and do something great, that's great too. I also work with my brother, and I have a store in downtown Conway called Encore Florals. There's a florals, wine, and gift shop that's downtown. So I know the struggles of the independent business owner. I also have working I have a real estate license. That was going to be my when you retire from the school system, you'll have another job, another career to go into. So I feel like I've been involved and been watching our town and seeing different things through a variety of different eyes over the decades.
So what are some of the challenges, other than what you articulated a few minutes ago, that you see in Conway that you think have feasible solutions for? I mean, it's feasible to address.
Well, I definitely think one of the things that I see that we've got to keep a very close eye on as citizens and council and employees of the city is the balance of our infrastructure and our building. Okay. The new homes that are coming and the subdivisions that are being built,
right?
They are wonderful when they're built in the right and not in a floodplain.
Right.
But we also have to very carefully watch our infrastructure of stormwater, our sanitation, our fire, our police. Do we have enough support there to support these new homes that council's saying?
Absolutely.
Yes, we agree. We zone you. We say you can build that subdivision, but we've got to also monitor to make sure, because, one of the things, for example, that I mean, until I started seriously looking into running for council, and what I did to prepare to run for council is I've been watching the Zoom meets. Because of COVID, there were Zoom meets. I've been watching those for well over a year and a half. When council was back in session, I've been to every council meeting to learn and to listen and to see firsthand what are they doing, and to learn. I also spent time this summer with the department heads. I went through our city administrator, and I said, I'm preparing for a run for council, and I want to know as much as I can about what happens in our city government. I want to know. Because I believe knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you can learn, the more you can share, and the more you can tell, and the better decisions you can make. And so I spent a week this summer with the different department heads, and I learned things like, and I was reminded of things like, okay, we have a fire rating. Our city has a fire rating because we have fire stations within such a proximity of our homes. If we continue to span outward, we're going to have to make sure to keep that fire rating. We're going to have to build fire stations that can get to those homes within so many minutes. Or what's going to happen is, if we don't do that, and again, I'm talking, we're 5-10 years away from that. But if we don't keep a watchful eye on that today, what's going to happen to us as citizens is, if we lose that fire rating, our fire insurance and our homeowners insurance is going to go up as individuals, not as a city, but as individuals. So I think that's just one example of what we have to look at and maintain, and make sure that when we're growing, we're not outgrowing what we already have. Let the infrastructure and the growth keep to work together.
Balance there. Yeah.
Yes, and that's one of the things. I also think all of our communities, Conway we need to make sure we continue with our identity. What is Conway? Who is Conway? Why are people coming here? As we're now learning, we've got people that are moving here just because they walked through or they met somebody they really liked and they're moving here. And I think Conway needs to be a destination, not just a place that you're driving through on the way to the beach. If you're gonna come through Conway to get to the beach, we want you to stop and spend your dollars here. We want you to eat at our restaurants. We want you to visit our shops. We want you to
look at our museums.
That's right. The
Future.
museum, spend your money so that gives us revenue for our city that we can then in turn put back into the entire city of Conway.
Well, absolutely.
Yes.
Your articulation of your platform is really expanded a little bit, which is good. I'm sure it can be appreciated. And April, if you don't have anything, if you don't have anything to say, I was just going to ask her something else about.
Go ahead, brother. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you talk about the balance and growth. So far, have you seen any indication as to where we need to expand our sewer system, for example? Because you're building a lot more homes. Okay.
Yes.
Now, has it reached a near capacity? Where
I think we're still at a good balance now.
Right.
One of the things I learned this summer is that, when the new subdivisions are being built, the city workers have to go out and make sure that the water lines are put together properly and that they're cemented together, because when the subdivision is finished and completed, the sidewalks and the maintenance of those roads comes back to the city. Well, guess what happens 5 or 6, 7 years down the road if those pipes aren't put together and cemented properly? They create sinkholes within the sidewalks in the neighborhoods. And then that's something that we, the city of Conway, have to come back and fix. So that is our coding and our permitting and our planning department and our code enforcers are working really, really diligently, I think, in making sure that that's not happening.
Well, when I was speaking of sewers, I was trying to say, I've seen some communities where they've outgrown their infrastructure, and so in other words, at some point, we'll start smelling the sewer in the city. Okay, if it's not being treated, if it's being overwhelmed wherever it's located now. I don't know where it is right now, but I know the one over in Myrtle Beach, you can smell that sometime on Highway 17. Okay.
Yes.
Which tells me that pretty soon they're going to be issuing some kind of bond or something to expand on the sewer. You're talking about pretty close to $1 billion. That takes a lot. So I don't know what Conway if Conway's been looking at our situation or not, or whether we use the same sewer or not. I don't even know. Is that Grand Strand sewer?
No, I think we have our separate. I would not, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I do believe in talking with the water department and being with them. I feel like we're at an okay place at the moment, but I think it's something that has to be watched. It has to be watched and monitored. And of course, we do have old pipes that are going to have to constantly be replaced and repaired too. That I think there is there's a plan within that system to make sure we as pipes and things are aging out, that we are replacing those. They just did they've been working over in the Shakora community, putting some pipes and tiles down there for better drainage and flowing, and because we want to make sure that our sewage and our storm drain runoff, it all gets purified and gets as clean as it can, so we're not polluting the environment.
Julie, I think that's a really important point you're making, because I know, a year or two ago, when we were really experiencing some torrential downpours and, hurricanes that were kind of skirting the coast and just dumping a lot of water, but not necessarily coming inland. One of the things that I noticed in the 9th Avenue area was that there was a backup of water, and we called the city. My neighbor and I, and asked for someone to come out and take a look at it. And they did. And basically it was determined that, within that particular neighborhood and maybe even some surrounding areas, the problem is inadequate drainage. And, so it appears that maybe the area grew faster than the drainage system. But, we asked, is that a city problem, or is that a resident problem? Meaning who needs to take action to make sure that the drainage starts to clear so the water's not backing up into our yards. And, the answer that we got led us to believe that it is a city thing, but there's such a backlog when it comes down to that type of thing. So, I know that we're kind of focusing on new developments and making sure the infrastructures are tight because of all the newness that's coming in that's kind of overtaxing what we currently have. But what are some things that you think can be done to make sure that the city deals with the backlog for current residents so that there's some relief there as well?
And I will say one of the other issues they have run into, and I'm talking the past six months that I've been asking questions and talking, is that they can't get materials.
Yes,
the city cannot get materials, and that some of the projects that they're ready to do, they can't do because they don't have the right equipment or the right materials to do that. So that has been something that has really affected, when we've heard about it worldwide, it's really affected us here also, as far as it was funny because they were like, these tiles we need or these pipes we need, we just cannot get them.
Right.
And there's, they could be 6 to 12 month back ordered. But I do think as a city, we have to protect that. We have to help our residents, because I personally don't know how to put in a pipe or a sewer or a drainage. That's our experts are within our city. And we have to work in there also.
Well, there's a question from our audience, Priscilla Fuller, who is always watching. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight. What are the barometers that a town uses to know when there is enough growth?
Just generally speaking, I think I believe our city has they're talking in their meetings and in their departments and looking and saying, okay, if we have X, and I'm going to use sanitation, for example. If we have X amount of trucks and we have X amount of workers, then there's a formula that they can only do so much. So we have to monitor that. It's the same with the fire, the water, the police department, our other departments that provide those services that you need to have as a resident and as a taxpayer that you're getting when you buy a home here. I would hate to sell a house to someone and say, on Friday morning they're going to pick up your garbage and your recycling, and and your fire department's right here and our police are here, and then all of a sudden that those folks were not available when those folks needed it. So that we have to watch those formulas very carefully to make sure. And I've listened so often in council when a piece of property wants to be annexed into the city, like a house, just a house. But maybe the house on the left is in the city, the house on the right is in the city, but the house in the middle is not in the city. And they call those donut holes. And so the goal is to fill in those donut holes so that it's one complete, that all those houses are in the city limits. But they will ask, can sanitation get there? Can we provide, are the trucks going by there? Do they have enough time to pick up, to add one more stop to the route? And so those are ways I think you have to look to say, either you hire more people and you buy more trucks than you do, or you say, we can only do X, and you know what X factor is, and that is where you have to stop. If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if the demand goes up, you got to have the resources to meet the demand. And if you don't have enough resources, that means that you've pretty much outgrown your ability to support the people who are asking for it. So, but yeah, so you've given us some really great points tonight, Julie. And I tell you, it sounds like that you have, really paid attention to a lot of the things that are going on in Conway. And You know, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked a candidate from last week who's running. You know, out of all of the things that you've talked about, what do you think is the most major issue that city council needs to focus on in terms of taking care of Conway? What's the most major issue?
As a council member, I hope always to listen to what everybody says. You know, what everybody has an opinion and they have a feeling. And I always want to make sure I listen to that. And that is part of my job now, is listening to this side of the story, then listening to that side of the story, and then trying to come to a decision that and sometimes it's hard decisions. City councils will have to make, and members of city council will have to make some tough decisions, and they may make some decisions that are not popular. And I believe I can do those. And I think you with the candidates, and I like how, you know, look down and say, what's the intention of this candidate and why did they want to run? Mm-hmm. Why did they throw their hat in the ring? And I threw my hat in the ring because I wanted to represent all the people of Conway. I want to help make decisions that will better this town. And I think the number one thing that is affecting us is we have to look at the economy. We have to make sure that we continue to nurture and grow our businesses that we have here, our independent businesses. We need to get opportunities for young folks and older folks, retired folks. You know, a lot of people have 2 or 3 careers now that are very successful, to come in and bring their business to Conway. I think we also have our resources of our colleges. We have our resources of our high schools where they're doing internships. And, you know, I work with students who I placed them on job sites, some going as far away as Pawleys Island. And after about 3 weeks, I've got a kid who's a senior in high school, and the company has hired them. And they're going to pay them to finish out once they graduate, they're going to pay them while they do their internship. Then they're going to hire them. These are opportunities that I don't want to see in Pawleys Island. I want to see in Conway, South Carolina. And I also, one of the things too, as a council, as the city of Conway administration, as we're looking at, we have some deficits. We have some jobs we can't fill in human resources. If you look at the jobs that are available, they're just not employees there to fill those. If we can work with Horry Georgetown Tech, Coastal Carolina, set up a program that really is designed to say, okay, in say law enforcement for criminal justice, that's already established at Horry Georgetown Tech. We need to be ciphering off their very best. We need to take their very best candidates that they're graduating and bring them to our police force. Also with the skills such as welding, electrician, plumbing, these skills that are out there, also working with our technical colleges to say, if the city cannot fill these positions, do we need to go develop a program with Horry Georgetown Tech, so that we're teaching folks those skills, and then we can have employment within our city. So if we just keep nurturing that and we've got to be strong advocates to say we're always going to be looking at bringing our businesses and nurturing them and bringing the strong resources to us. Mm-hmm. And that's sustainable. That will be a sustainable cycle that will keep us going. Because Conway's a great place. It's a great city, and it's a great place to raise a family also. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to come here and have everything they want. Mm-hmm. So I guess that was a long roundabout, but I kind of wanted to bring all those pieces in to say, when you say businesses and development, it kind of affects so many different aspects of the city government and our lives as citizens of Conway.
Okay, I know we're running out of time, but because of our next guest, but I really wanted to hit you on preservation of some of our historical sites.
Yes, sir.
You know, I just want you to put that at paramount if you're elected. I was wondering if you would put that as a paramount issue to be addressed. You know,
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have things that's appropriate for the legacy of a community that was once segregated.
That's right.
Now, okay, and now it wants to maintain the legacy, okay, like for our children, to let them know where we've come, how far we've come, and how far we need to go. So, having said that, April, I don't know, do we have a time? Has the other guest arrived?
The other guest has arrived, and are you?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to allow her to answer that question? There's also another question in the comment field that is, I think, a very important question as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's do with that. Let's do it.
I'll be brief. I'll be brief since I know you've got some coming. I live in a 1902 house that I restored. That it was falling down, and they were ready to tear it down. One of the things that I do know is I am, that's my minor in college is a history teacher. I minored in history, and I love history, and I love government, and I love economics. We need to preserve our history and our buildings, and we need to preserve them. I feel very strongly about that. At the same time, we need to make sure that those buildings, when they are preserved, we need to weigh the balance of how can we preserve that history, but we also can make this building a state-of-the-art building. I would love to see there to be a community center where Whittemore Elementary Park was, or school was, and the old district office there. But I also think about my Blackwater Middle School was built in 2006. Every child right now has a device. Well, guess what, y'all? We don't have enough plugs for those children to charge those devices. If they, so you're always kind of, because when the school was built, they weren't thinking about that. They didn't see that as the vision. So I would want to preserve the buildings, yet I'd also want to make sure that the people using those buildings had the very best resources available to them.
Absolutely.
And with that certain building, I'm not privy to all the information of it, but there was the old Conway High School when they tore that down. It was, I was a little kid. I remember that. But they tried to save the Archway and part of that. But we need to take our buildings, and we need to use our engineers that are on staff, and we need to use our builders, and we need to preserve, but yet also make a state of the art so that our tax dollars are being used wisely.
Yeah, right.
Real quick, Reggie Dyson asks, how do you feel about more diversity within city government?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that every person should have an opportunity to do what he or she wants to do. This should not, the face of council, the 7 people on council should not look all alike. There should be different, and city government. It should be, everyone should look different ages, different backgrounds. I only know the shoes that I have walked in, I have grown up in. I can listen to stories of what people have told me, but if we can come together with a variety of backgrounds, that way we can be inclusive of everyone. I think the more you have of age, you have age, you have gender, you have ethnicities, you have socioeconomics. There's so many different factors in there. I love traveling, and traveling gives me an opportunity to meet people from a different place and they have a different perspective. So yes, I'm all in for, I hope the election comes with 3 candidates that become elected who have the entire city of Conway at their best interest. It's their best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I'm one of those. I'm working very hard to be one of those. But you have to listen and you have to listen to people, and you truly need to listen to them. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen and don't talk so much, as I've talked probably too much tonight. But I enjoy listening to the different stories and what we can do as a council to include everyone.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Julie, and good luck to you in this city council race.
Thank you so much.
It was great to see you again, Lady Tiger. And
Lady
like I said, there's 3 Lady Tigers
87.
in the race. I'm telling you.
That's right.
Yeah, but
and
good
y'all
luck to
get out
good
and
luck to all
vote
of you.
November
Yeah.
2nd.
Yeah,
We
November
need
2nd is the day.
everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody needs to be voting. This should not be a race determined by 1,000 people voting. It should be tens of thousands of people voting.
Mhm.
And so get out and vote.
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
All right.
thank y'all very much.
Great.
All
I
right.
appreciate
Thank
the
you so
opportunity. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Well, it's
Thank
good meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Okay.
All
right.
Brother Edward, I'm gonna go to commercial real quick, and then we'll come back with Dr. Antonio Smith to talk about his book.
We'll do that.
All right.
Yo, we're back.
We are back. We are back with our other special
Amen.
Dr. Antonio Smith. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing?
All right, Brother Edward, you want to kick us off with this special guest?
What's up, Doc? That's all I
Doing
can
good,
say.
sir. Doing good. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
Some difficulty.
Man, it's good, it's good. Yeah, as the people only knew what it took to get
Man, I'm telling you.
you hooked up, but you're there, and you said it earlier. Thank God that you're here. So,
Amen. Amen.
okay. So, to our viewers, we have Dr. Antonio Smith. They call him Tony. Do they call it? Is it?
Amen. Conway knows me as Tony.
They know you as Tony.
They know me as Tony.
And the most recent communication that we've got from you, Dr. Smith, is that your book just came out yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Is that true? Is that correct?
Well,
And-
it came out last Thursday, but it hit the fans today. This morning, it hit the fans big everywhere.
Yeah, and either fortunately or unfortunately, I was copied in on all the responses that you got, and my phone was lit up, so it kept banging. But it was conversation between you and those people that congratulated you. But you CC'd in on everybody else, so including myself. So we'll let the audience know that it must have been a very popular book. So and the name of his book is How to Deal with Issues That Rock Your World. I haven't heard that in a long time, Doc. You're rocking your world, man. Doc.
Well, God gave me that title, and I wasn't gonna go. I had several titles to put for the book, but that one kind of stuck with me, and I went with that one, and it seemed to be very on time for the day, and so I love the title, and I'm a rock with it. I'm a rock with it, Doc.
You're gonna rock with it.
I'm rock with it.
I'd like for you to start off with a little bit of background of yourself first, and then you can tell us a little bit about your book, okay? And then
Okay.
and we can. There were some excerpts that I saw that I probably would like to for you to address. But go ahead and just start with a little background of yourself. Everybody doesn't know you, but they're going to know you after today.
Okay, amen.
Molly Fuller certainly knows you. She said Dr. Smith is in the house.
Yeah, that's a good friend of mine. She's a real close friend of mine.
All right.
But literally, the book came about back when I was 16 years old, Now, the book wasn't in place, but what happened to me came in place, and that when my mom passed away.
Right.
When she passed, I didn't know that I was depressed for so long. Matter of fact, I stayed depressed probably till I got to grad school and wrote a project called A Son's Grief. That's the first 4 to 5 pages of the book. It talks about a son's grief, and that gives you the narrative of what happened to me when mom died. And through the process of it, what I found out that the stress can happen to anybody, and a lot of people don't understand the stress and depression, but it can be hidden. It could be hidden for children,
Right.
and you'll never know it until it acts out years later.
Right.
And so I'm a living example of that. But what broke the ice with me, when I wrote the project, I found closure with mom. The professor, working on grad school, working on my master's, the professor said, write a closure paper. So I chose to write a closure paper to my mom. And after I finished the paper, everything broke. I felt like I was healed. I felt like I let it out, I let it go, and everything was inhale and exhale, and I can move on in life.
Okay. For those who are of the era of your mom, who used to work at Dr. Keller's drugstore, can you just let the viewers know who your mom and your dad were?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. My mom was the first. My mom worked for the first African American doctor in Horry County, who was Dr. P.C. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart, brilliant young man, and he hired my mom. He hired my mom out of school. My mom graduated high school, and he needed somebody to work with him. And he went to my granddad. I think it was my granddad said, "My daughter Mary would be a good fit." So mom started working there. Of course, we grew up there, and she was a fixture there because everybody knows her from Dr. Kelly's drugstore.
Right.
And my dad was the cab driver. He took everybody around, including us sometime in the cab when he taking people around. So it was a joy, and he was the kind of guy that
His name was, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
His name was what?
Alfred Smith Sr.
Alfred Smith Sr.
Alfred Smith Sr. I got to put that SR on there because he got a son named Alfred Smith Jr.
Okay.
But Alfred Smith Sr. is my dad, and he was one that was firm with us. He grew up with a firm arm, and I learned a lot from my dad. And my dad taught me how to be a man, because I feel like if a good, strong man is in the house, he can teach the boys how to be a man, especially a Christian-hearted man. So Dad was hard on me because I was around bushes one of the family. I rose up against him. I mean, when he beat me, I snatched the stick out of his hand, and I got a worse beat, and I was that one that was radical. and so Dad had to get on to me pretty firm and hard, and it helped me out. But then I didn't like it, but I came back to tell him that I love him for what he done for me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The I for one can't put up and show the people what the book looks like. But April, did you get a JPEG of it, April?
I did.
The book cover.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask Dr. Smith. Do you have a copy of the book?
You have a copy of your book? You can just put up.
Yeah, put it up. I think. Yeah.
Do I have one? It's right here.
Wait a minute. That's pretty thick.
Yeah, 300 and some pages.
It's 300. It's 329 pages, I believe. But check this out now. The book deals with by any issue that you can have. And matter of fact, one of my pet peeves is the family, boundaries of marriage, and theology of Christian counseling. Meaning anything that you go through in life, I take a theology approach to it, meaning a biblical approach to it as a Christian counselor. I'm not a secular counselor. I have a THD, not a PhD. So I take a Christian perspective to it, and that way I can get a well-rounded view of what's going on from a biblical perspective, and that's how I counsel from the Bible. Okay,
just put that book up just one more time. Let's focus it, and can you sit it back a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, how to deal with issues. All right.
Yeah, rock your world up on
that rocks your world.
Yeah, that's got to be on there now. That rock part got to be on there.
All right, man. So I'm sure you have a lot to quite a bit to discuss about it, but you know, the at what age you say it again that you determined that you wanted to do something like this?
Well, my wife was my driving force because when I got my first doctorate as a pastor, my wife kept saying, you can get that doctorate. I said, I don't want no doctor's degree. I'm tired of school. So she pushed me. So I got the first doctorate. And then the Lord dealt with me about counseling. So I went back to school, not for no doctor's degree. I went back to counseling and they bestowed the diploma upon me. But I didn't think I was going to write a book until my wife said, you're going to write that book. I said, nah, honey, I don't want to write no book. She kept pushing me. And so it came in place because I did 12 projects to get my doctor's degree in Christian counseling. One project was 128 pages, just one project. So I did a lot of writing. And in my writing, I pour myself in it as I sit in my devotion with God. And God gave me the wisdom and knowledge to write that way. And so I decided to put that in publication. So that's when I began to went forth to publish the book after I graduated seminary and my second doctorate last year of June. It's been a long time coming. I didn't know that I had to do all the work to publish this book. I thought the publisher was going to do all this work.
The writer does that.
I thought I'd get in the manuscript, but they're thick. I said, y'all handle that thing. Nah, man, I had to go through the whole 9. It took me a year and a half just to publish it from May the 22nd last year until now.
Well, listen, there are a lot of questions and congratulatory comments that are coming your way. I've been trying to throw them on the screen so that you could see them as you were talking. But one question that's very important is where locally can people purchase the books? Now, I've gone to Amazon just that quickly and pulled up the actual book. I'm going to put it on the screen so that everyone can see the cover.
Amen.
Yeah, and it is available on Amazon, but do you have it in local bookstores?
Yes, it's in Barnes and Nobles as well.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's supposed to be an iPad, iPhone, Kindle, Barnes and Nobles, and just about every outlet that can get the book. And it's everywhere now. And so I'm excited about that. And we're very thankful to Christian Faith Publishing Company taking on the project. And they did a wonderful job putting it together for me. I couldn't ask for it to turn out better. It really turned out real well for us.
You know, Dr. Smith, this time of the year, we're getting into the holiday season. It seems that, the last couple of months of the year, usually the saddest times of the year and the times that people deal the most with grief and sickness and depression because of loss and other reasons. So, what does your book say about how people can deal with grief and the depression that sometimes comes from that?
The number one thing you deal with grief as a counselor, you listen. You sit there and just listen. Let them pour it out on you. Just let them grieve on, let them cry. You just sit there as a counselor and listen. Matter of fact, that's our job. A counselor job, or a certified Christian counselor job, is to listen to people. Now, when they start getting out of balance, then you try to bring them back in the right perspective. In other words, they start saying things that I want to end it all. I'm tired. No, you bring them back. God loves you. You still got work to do here, and so forth and so on. And the number one key you have to be as a counselor, you got to project love. Love has to cover everything. If you be a counselor, you showing that you gonna spend time with them, you ain't listening to them, or you showing them that you don't really care, then you went to the wrong counselor. I'm gonna say you got to have someone that's compassionate, someone that's patient, someone that'll listen, and someone that'll take time and go the extra mile to help you in your situation. In other words, one thing we can't do as counselors, take on the stress, and it binds us up. And that's my weakness. I'm a loving kind of person. I take your situation, I take it to the far extreme. But as a counselor, we must listen and be patient and help as much as we can. And we're in the season of grieving, and this is the season for us to show love, show a lot of love. Mm-hmm. And I think we can get anybody through grieving. You fail to understand, children get depressed.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know babies get depressed. Mm-hmm. An infant in a crib get depressed. How? When a mother neglect them, when a mother don't feed them on time, change them on time, or cuddle them on time, that baby again get depressed. It's the natural instinct to want to love, to want to feel, to want to touch. So if you don't give them that baby will get depressed in their own way.
Mm-hmm. What was the most difficult part of your book to write?
The most difficult part of my book to write is really the part about, that's a good question, because all it was good to write because I love writing. But I guess one of the most difficult part is to talk about suicide. because we living in a world now where suicide is running rampantly. And being that I'm a retired, disabled, 100% disabled Marine, guess what? I went down that road when I was about 23 years old. I tried to commit suicide. I went down that road to entertain suicide. And because I was a Christian, I went in my inner self. My mind was going. I couldn't think. I was in a psychiatric ward at 23, but my mind, my inner self was talking to God. And the Holy Spirit says, don't jump off the 3rd floor, which I was planning on jumping through the 3rd floor window. But the Holy Spirit said, don't jump. And so I didn't jump. And because I didn't jump, God began to deal with me as they medically retired me to become a preacher, become a pastor, and ultimately write this book. So I know firsthand what you do when someone, as a veteran, they come to the VA, they look for help, don't get help. They go in the parking lot, pull a 357 Magnum and blow their head off. Why? Because I believe you didn't show enough love and patience with that individual when they came into the VA hospital to want them to take them under wings so they can avoid that. A person that have mental illnesses is not going to think to go home and go on the internet and find help.
Right.
They're not going to go down the street and say, look, I'll find me a magazine to teach me how to get help. No, they get depressed, they get wiped out, they end it, they take their life. When one person died, to me, that was too many. And so I'm passionate about that. The veterans also, I'm passionate about the VA, the veterans and what they go through, PTSD, suicide, schizophrenia, bipolar. I'm passionate about those kind of issues. My book talks about that.
Those things are very real, and especially in the Black community, because we don't talk about it enough. We don't deal with it enough. And, you know, we've had shows where we've talked about it, Brother Edward, where it seemed to have been, it's taboo, you know, in our culture for whatever reason. But I think that I'm seeing more and more discussions about it, and you'd be surprised at who's actually being personally affected, if not directly, you know, and in a very indirect way, because it's a loved one who's dealing with that type of thing. So it sounds like your book can be cathartic and something that people who are going through the things you're going through have gone through will be able to relate to. And so, you know, that's all the more reason why I know I got to pick up a copy. And you were holding a hard copy or a paperback?
No, soft copy.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I saw the paperback.
Now, see, I'm doing a book signing November the 20th at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, my home church, at 2:00 on November the 20th, which my mom's birthday is the 22nd. Now, everything hinges upon my mom. Now, and it's funny that I'm doing it on the 20th. My mom's birthday is 2 days later, so everything is hinging around her. I believe she's the reason why God allowed me to write this manual, because of what I went through with my mom. And this is something that I want the listener to understand. The reason why I think part of my depression, when my mom was in the hospital in Florence Memorial Hospital, I played basketball. I asked the coach to let me go see my mom after the basketball game. She was laying in the hospital at Florence, comatose. The purpose of me going there was to tell my mom, I love you. I couldn't tell her. I just paced the room. I couldn't tell her I love you. Mom, I love you. I couldn't do it. So I left the hospital broken. When she died, part of me went in the grave with her because I didn't tell her, I love you, Mom. Because back then men didn't tell boys you love her, boys didn't tell dads, even women didn't tell their children, I love you, back when I was growing up in the 60s.
A lot.
So I made an effort.
That's very real.
When my daddy got sick, and he died in 1990, I was there when he died. I was also there bathing him. I went to swim, and I told my dad, I love you. This is what my daddy said. He said, blah, 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 blah. He couldn't say it, but I know he meant it.
You know he meant it.
Yeah. And so we got to break that. Our children need to hear us say we love them.
Absolutely.
Our children need to hear our parents say, baby, I love you. Because if we don't love our children, guess what? We'll love our children, the world.
The streets. That's right, in the world.
So
you said it.
We got to break that. We got to break that.
You said it's
November.
You said it's November 20th. At what time?
2:00 at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, where Pastor Hendry is the very fine pastor of that great church.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen so everybody can Take note of this. The author's book signing is going to be November 20th at 2 p.m. at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, and I guess we call it Conway. It's definitely
that's wrong. That's Conway. Even though it's in the St. Paul community,
exactly.
My granddad was named Paul McNeil. They call him St. Paul, and my great granddaddy co-founded the church, Reverend Mitchell McNeil. Okay. So I kind of follow his little footsteps there, and I'm proud of that. That's history for me. My great granddaddy co-founded the church, and he was the first pastor there. And so we'll do it there. We're gonna have a good time. I got some gifts and some things to do bring back to the community what they've done for me. They raised me. Me, my brothers, and my sister. We was young when my mom died. My brother was 18. I was 16. My baby brother was 15, and Keisha was 18 months when mom died. So we had to have more. We had to have some more mothers, because we lost ours. And unfortunately, we had a lot of mothers in the community that took us on their wing. They kind of navigated and steered us and loved on us. And I certainly appreciate that to the highest. I thank them so much. I wish I can do a whole lot more for them for what they did for Tony.
Awesome. Well, we have some more comments we're going to share with you. Darcel Graham, thank you for watching. She says, I'm so proud of you, Doc.
Darcel. Yeah. Darcel, I know her. I know her well.
Yes, a lot of folks know Darcel. And Priscilla Fuller, of course, congrats on your book. Can't wait to read it. In looking at depression, there's often a reluctance to seek assistance. What recommendations would you give people who are suffering from depression? How do we better inform our communities about seeking help? Priscilla always asks good questions.
Yeah, she comes up with those questions, man.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Let me get some more comments. Julie Hardwick, who was just on, she says, yes, love. And I'm thinking she was responding to what you were saying about showing love. Edna DeWitt, I thank God for dealing with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, that's my sister. That's my big sister from another mother.
All right.
That's my big sister. Yeah, she claimed to my dad a lot. So matter of fact, she helped me a lot on this project as well. As far as getting in contact with the radio, with the new magazine and everything. She helped me out a lot.
Awesome. Bonnie Edie says, amen, Pastor Smith. Cindy Austin, congratulations, Tony.
Amen. Yeah.
Julie just came back and said she just ordered the book. Sister Joella, how you doing tonight? Amen, Brother Reverend Smith. And of course, Reggie Dyson. Should pastors go through classes to learn how to deal with grief that their church members are going through? That's a good question.
You know something? I give him hands up. There's my daughter right there. She just came up. My daughter.
Khadijah, okay. Congratulations.
That's my daughter. But let me tell you something. That young man, Reggie, he hit it on the head. Let me tell you something. Just because you pastoring, and I pastored for years, been preaching for about 30 years, doesn't mean you can counsel. Matter of fact, a pastor that's not been properly trained can do more damage than good.
Okay, better repeat that.
You cannot take the Bible. I'm giving an example. If somebody come in your church and they have schizophrenia, they're bipolar, you're going to take the Bible and say, in the name of Jesus, but the person needs help. He needs medicine. He needs counseling. The best thing for you to do is direct him to a psychiatrist who can help get him physically well so he can understand the spiritualness of what he needs to know from God. You know why I know that? Because, again, I got bipolar. So the illnesses is something I was born with because it's a chemical imbalance in my brain. So I didn't do nothing to get it. It just God brought it to me that way just for a purpose. And it's been good to me because I love him for it. I rely upon him more than I know that's where my weaknesses are. But pastors should go to training, or they should say some type of schooling, or send the members to somebody who's qualified. I've had other pastors send their members to me for me to counsel them because they say I can't do it. I've had courts to rely upon me to counsel someone when the members going through a divorce situation. The courts relied upon me to give an affidavit for the situation so they can weigh their decision. So it's important that we have training, have the education behind it, and have the certificate, have the credentials. And then I think you'll do well.
More comments coming in from my cousin, Cassandra Chestnut Campbell, Reverend Lonnie B. Chestnut family.
That's my pastor.
Yes.
That's my pastor. Reverend Lonnie B. Chestnut is my pastor.
He was everybody's pastor, man.
No, don't take my pastor. No, don't take my pastor. My pastor.
We also have a comment from Brandy Jameson. Congratulations. May God continue to bless you. And Yvonne Jordan, awesome advice to preachers and pastors. Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah. So again, Sister Priscilla, and you probably have already touched on this, but just to go back to her questions as well, what recommendations would you give for people who are suffering from depression, and how do we better inform our communities about seeking help?
Okay, the first thing that should happen, sister, is that there should be someone close to that individual that love him enough that can encourage him to seek counseling. Because naturally, if someone needs help, they ain't going to seek no help. You got to kind of encourage them, especially someone with mental illnesses. I'm telling you, they ain't going. That's just like you tell an alcoholic to go to AAA class. He'll do everything to avoid it. So someone got to be in the family loving enough to be able to encourage them, get close enough to them, to encourage them to seek help. And then the person you allow him to seek help, let that person be on his level. Let him be comfortable with the counselor. Let him recognize the counselor. Let him kind of understand the counselor. Don't throw him in the tub with somebody that he don't know, he don't trust, or ain't gonna work. And in the community, we should have more mental health awareness in our community. Let me tell you why. There's more people that have mental health issues than you realize.
Yeah.
I can give you one. If a young man take a gun and shooting up everybody, now I think he got a mental health issue. Now you can say, yeah, he got issues, but still, I think it's minimal. Someone can take another man's life. That's something deep. So when we, myself, have mental issues, I don't think we should be frowned upon as if we got a disease. I think we need to be loved as well. I think we need to, show attention to as well, because God can use anybody for his glory. Mm-hmm. And I think he's doing that well in these days and times. So we need to rally around individuals that we know of instead of shunning them. I want to be around, I want to be no part of you. No, learn to love him. Learn to appreciate him. He's a human being as well. Or she's a human being as well. Mm-hmm. And I think we can kind of bridge this gap between the stigma with mental health issues and mental health people that got mental issues. I love everybody. I love including those that have mental issues. I think it's important.
Brother Edward, the comments keep coming in.
Yeah,
Carolyn Hickman Williams, congratulations. Can't wait to read your book. Your comments tonight are so on point. Mental health is a serious matter in the Black community.
Amen.
Yeah.
More African American are committing suicide than ever before. Before it was Caucasian committing all the suicide, and we were so strong around England. But now more African Americans are committing suicide. What they're doing is they're killing the one that's causing them the issues, and then taking the gun on themselves. Mm. Okay, I mean killing whole families. Mm-hmm. Young man killing his daughters and the baby mama, whatever, then taking the gun on themselves. It's getting rapidly. So we need to focus on it. We need to address these issues. Mm-hmm. And I'm up for the game. I'm up to tackle these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on your book signing. I hope it's a successful event. And hopefully after the people listening today and looking at how you are articulating the issues in the book, that they can go there and purchase the book.
Amen.
Okay. A few people, our commenters, they've already purchased the book. So, man, you got something on your hands here.
Yeah. I made it's not a joke. Me and God got a real personal relationship going on. I told God when I wrote the manual a couple years back, I said, now, Lord, if the book succeeds, you get the glory. If the book fails, you still get the glory for that too.
Amen. Amen.
It's your book. So you get the glory for it. I mean, whatever it does, if it helps one person, if it encourages one person, if one person get encouraged by this book, then I got a #1 bestseller in God's eyes. And that's also in my eyes. We got a #1 bestseller. If it helped one, and guess what? It already helped me. So that's that one. Mm-hmm. So we got a #1 bestseller.
I'll tell you, the first thing that's going to catch their eye is that the issues that rock your world.
There you go. There you go.
Love the title.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, man. 300 some pages. Dr. Smith is really awesome itself within itself. And and you must have had a lot to say. Must have been a lot of issues. I saw some of the table of contents, and just judging by that, I'm glad you sent them to us. Just judging by that, they all seem to be worthy of being in that book.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
They all seem to be worthy of being in that book.
Yeah.
So, and you said it took you a year and a half, something like. Oh, it took you.
No.
That was just for publishing.
It took me, for publishing. It took me about 6-7 years to write this.
Right.
A lot of writing. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I got another book ready to be published. But I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I ain't no author. I'm a preacher. I'm a pastor, Lord. I ain't gonna be published. I'm not a. But I got another manuscript that I done wrote, and I doubt if I publish it unless the Lord says so. But this one, I'm putting a lot of effort in this one because this is really my baby. This is one that I pour a lot into. Put a lot of work in publishing it, and the publisher come and took it on the day of my birthday. They took the job May 22nd last year, my birthday, and so up until now, that's when we got it to the stands. So about a year, almost a year and a half.
It's one thing I noticed was that you seem to have been very prophetic about it. So you said 5 or 6 years ago, because the titles that I saw and then some of the excerpts were applicable today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's as if they were parables that you had written some time ago, like the Bible and the Quran and all the religious books. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I thought that was very ingenious of you, and again, you must have had a higher calling to really help propel your desire to do that.
I'm gonna tell you, it was a journey that I don't wish on nobody, but it's a journey that I will go back and do again if I have to, because the struggles that I went through made me who I am today, and it made me to the point where I just like to give the people, help people, encourage people. That's my life, really, giving, helping, and encouraging people. The reason being because God has been so good to me. I mean, and He's been good to all of us, but I'm telling you, He's really been good to me to give me this knowledge, this wisdom to produce this book. When I read the book, brother and sister, I cry because I said, how in the world did I do that? I remember being in Miss Hedgepath's class in high school. I hate English. Matter of fact, when you write a paper, when I get it back, it's all read up, marked up and read. I said, I hate writing, hate English. But then when you find something you're passionate about, when you love with all your heart, man, you can write all day on them. I write all day on Jesus. I'm serious. And I didn't think I ever will, but I just love writing about Him, giving my thoughts about Him. And the seminary trained me because the professors that graded my work in St. Louis, all they want to do is what's up here. They didn't care about no true and false, no multiple choice. No, they want you to write your thoughts, what you think, how you think it, support what you're thinking, and tell me your do's and don'ts, ups and downs. So that's what I learned to do. So now I just love writing. My wife said I'm kind of hard. I'm too hard.
So you're serving in a ministerial capacity at St. Paul now, or
no. That's my home church. If the Lord should say so, there's a church that's kind of. I'll find out next month whether they elect me as a pastor. I've been on the pulpit now about a year and a half as pastor, but I pastored for about 18 years, and then I went in like a sabbatical because the COVID, and God told me to shut the church down. I planted down, and then when He told me to shut it down, I shut it down. The next few months, COVID hit, so all the church was shut down. And so I never came out of that as of yet. And we praying that God will put us back in the pulpit to pastor. I love pastoring. I love people. I love teaching. I taught seminary for a few years. And I've done a little bit of it all when it comes to the Bible. I've done a little bit of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Look, Doc. I'm just going to call you Doc. I mean, that's a strong title. Doc.
Man, I got you sold my title.
You're so interesting and very compelling, and especially your book. I just wish we had a lot more time, but our time is approaching us now. We've gone past the time that we usually have. So, but you can see you've gotten so interesting, interesting, and the comments that are coming in, it's deserving to let them see, what your comments are. And thanks. In April, will it seem to make sure of that very well. Thank you, April. So we're gonna have to wrap this up. And look, let's not say that this is the end of this. You can we'll find out how your book is doing. You can come back and if you have some more revelations, anything else that's prophetic, okay. You can come and talk about them on our show, man. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do some more things. We got a big plan. We're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna we're gonna do some ministry. We're gonna do some things in Conway and the surrounding areas. I think God's going to do some stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, God up to something. Yeah. And I know what it is, but I ain't gonna tell everybody what it is.
Well, all right.
You don't have to tell. Well, look, we hopefully we can be talking to you again.
Okay,
and,
yes, sir. We stay in touch. Stay in touch with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You can see by the comments that you've been expressing your articulation was very, very good, and it's captured a lot of people. So let's keep that going. Okay. And,
thank you.
Right, and we'll be talking. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. Y'all be blessed, and thanks for having me again. Okay.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Well, Brother Edward, it's been a wonderful show this evening.
Absolutely.
And we certainly want to thank our special guest tonight, Dr. Antonio Smith, one of Conway's finest. Might as well go ahead and put it out there.
Was he a tiger?
Yeah, he was a tiger.
Yeah. Let people know. Look, let's see. There's a lot of people. Look, a different generation don't know what a tiger is. When you say tiger,
Conway tiger. Tiger.
It used to be bulldog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So,
all right.
But we thank him for being here to share with us his new book, How to Deal with Issues That Rock Your World. Book signing November 20th at 2 p.m. at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church. And we also thank Conway City Council candidate Julie Hardwick for sharing some time with us to let us know about her platform and her plans as she vies for one of the positions on Conway City Council. We wish them all the best, and we thank all of you for joining us tonight. Wonderful comments, really. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have an announcement. About a community meeting this Wednesday.
Oh yeah. Please put that out there. Yes.
Yeah. I don't. I can only talk from it. I don't know if you have the JPEG.
I'm gonna pull something up. You go ahead and start. Yeah.
Community meeting is called Save Our School. This is regarding Whittemore Elementary School. It's a Wednesday, October 27th at 4 p.m. That's the only time that we were able to get that, or they were able to get it. The group was able to get that. That Wednesday. At October 27th, that's this coming Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. It's going to be at the Whittemore Elementary School parking lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it'll be on the outside for a number of reasons. One is safety, and there are a number of other reasons. So the city of Conway needs to hear our voices regarding our beloved Whittemore Elementary School. The city of Conway stated in 2017 that the intent to renovate the Whittemore Elementary School into a community center. The city is now starting to plan to demolish the Whittemore Elementary School at a cost of $500,000. Okay, so they want everyone to join them on Wednesday, October 27th at 4 p.m. in front of the Whittemore Elementary School to voice your opinion and your issues regarding their intent to demolish the school, especially at that cost, I guess. Mm-hmm. So a large group of active participants attending will let the city of Conway know that how much the community loves Whittemore Elementary School. So the announcement is to encourage your neighbors and relatives to attend. Okay, so if you want to please contact Reverend Cheryl Moore Adamson at 843-333-1911. That's 843-333-1911, or Miss Carolyn Hickman Williams. Miss Carolyn Hickman Williams. She's at 843-421-2358. Again, she's at 843-421-2358. That's it's a community meeting at this Wednesday, October 27th at 4 p.m. And the website is on your screens at www.whittemorehistorical.org. And that's the purpose.
Did you give them the address of the elementary school?
The address,
You have it. I have it. It's 1603 Horry Street. For those of you who may be familiar but are not quite sure, you want to GPS it. It's 1603 Horry Street in Conway. And again, the website address, I'm sure there's plenty of information there if you want to know more about this particular initiative to save Whittemore Elementary School.
Right. It is at the intersection of Horry Street and Roof Street. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, Brother Edward, it was a great show tonight. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate all of our commenters and for those of you who are watching. And just to let you know, after the show is over, we do a live broadcast every Monday night. But guess what? You can go to our YouTube page. You can also go to the WCMmagazine.net website to check the broadcast if you want to watch it again. Maybe there's something you missed because it was going by so fast, or you want to share it with other people who need to listen. I know for a fact I'm going to share this broadcast tonight because of what Dr. Smith was talking about. And I know some people who could certainly use that message. And so we just had a really good time tonight. Great show, great information, learned a lot, was inspired and uplifted. And that's what this is all about.
April, I wonder if everyone knows where St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church is located. It's on 65. It's on Highway 65. In Horry County, but there wasn't an address discussed from either party, so we can just say that it's on Highway 65 in Horry County. Okay.
Who's the pastor of that church right now?
Pastor Henry.
Okay. So
Reverend Henry.
I'm sure a lot of people, probably familiar with it in that way.
Right. So.
All right.
I want to thank everybody, including my co-host, Miss April. pulling some overtime here. I'm always multitasking. Yeah, still have work to do tonight before I lay it down. But thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I always enjoy being with the WCM Live community. Well, that's you. That's us.
Yes, that's us.
WCM. Okay, live. Yeah. So to our viewing audience, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week at the same time. We'll have our guest, which hadn't been solidified yet, but we'll let everybody know in due time.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we got a private chat message with an address for St. Paul is 3449 Highway 65.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you so much. You know who you are. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Thank you all so much, and good night.
Good night. See you.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.